Hey, this is Stephen Nix. I'm the owner of White Knight Septic Services out of Knoll, Missouri. I'm doing this presentation aimed at local governments in southwest Missouri. The name of the presentation is A Proposal to Leverage Federal Funding for Community Health, Water Protection, and Emergency Preparedness. That's me in the corner there with my truck. My involvement with preparedness. So I want you to get a little background real quick on who I am and my history. I have a lot of street cred in the world of preparedness. Back in California, where I originally lived, I managed emergency preparedness planning for 7 congregations of my church. I put on multiple large community preparedness fairs with hundreds in attendance. I was a member of the Folsom Community Emergency Response Team. I was the unit commissioner for 6 years with the Boy Scouts of America and have had a lifelong association. I am considered an expert in primitive living skills, weeds you can eat, fire from just sticks, things like that. I did classes for the Parks and Recreation on native plants, foraging teacher. And I was a volunteer with the American Red Cross, helping to put on CPR classes. So, anyways, I've been around the block with preparedness, and I'm the guy that I'm the guy that everybody says, I'm going to your house when everything falls apart. Yeah, there's a reason for that, because I was so vocal for so long about that, all the preparedness stuff. And there's me in the corner teaching a little class on foraging, and I just threw up a picture of one of the classes that I held on making fire with sticks. So I run a septic pumping business, and I think most of the time people, when they think of septic pumping, they would think of that being a residential emergency. This picture right here was this last week at a person's house, elderly person that had sewage backing up into their shower. They couldn't flush toilets and lots of problems. So I came in for an emergency for them. And that emergency, sewage backing up into the house or spilling out into the yard, causing environmental and health hazards. It's not just the person, the homeowner, that is affected. This routine septic maintenance protects the health of the family in the home and in the community, because when that spills out, it can get into waterways and affect the community and make people sick. I also, the next paragraph here, please also consider watching the presentation I did on a plan to provide low-cost or no-cost septic pumping for low-income residents of Southwest Missouri. I did another video, and I'll try to get the link out to whomever I send this to look at that as well. I want to point out too that White Knight Septic is the only septic pumping company physically in McDonald County. So what you may not be thinking of as a government is the role that pumper trucks play in municipal emergencies. And the biggest one is, I would say, is when a lift station fails. If you were to go onto all the different pumper forums, and yes, there are pumper forums out there, that you could find hundreds of these things where people are, pumpers are, hired by the cities that they live in, the governments they live in, to come and suck out their lift stations. And if you're not familiar with lift stations, basically what it is, sewer is on a gravity-fed system. It goes through pipes to lower and lower places as it makes its way. And along the way, it'll get so low that they need to use a lift station to pump it up higher, and then continue that process of it going downhill until it eventually reaches the treatment plant. If you look here on the left, James Bearden says, "Gonna be here for a couple of days." You've got a pump in there that, if there's an electrical problem, you've got a power outage, the pump has given up you're going to have a situation where people are still flushing their toilets, they're still taking showers, and it's going to start spilling out into the streets. And you need to have a pumper come out and suck it out until the repair can be made. And oftentimes that is days, right? Right. If you have to order the pump, or if the crew that fixes the pump needs to come in, I mean, you're going to have it sucked out so they can work on it. In the upper right there, pump trucks may be required to work round the clock for days until the station is fixed, transporting wastewater to another location. And that's usually what it is they will be sucking, pumpers will suck it out of the lift station, and then they have to go up the street somewhere and put it into the next manhole at a higher spot to make it go down and continue on its way. And here's this one on the right saying, burning the midnight poop, 11 loads pumped from a down lift station, got home at 3:30 this morning. So that's a sort of municipal emergency that is most common amongst pumpers. I'm going to talk about a little bit lesser known emergency situations that municipalities can face. Pump trucks used in flooding emergencies. And I just grabbed, you could do your own search online for this sort of thing. But here in this graphic in the middle, it says Cameron County deploys pump trucks to flooded areas. I do this so you can realize that pump trucks are not just for septic. It's also just for water, right? Wastewater sort of situations and other. I'll get into some of the other reasons. In July 2020, Hurricane Hannah's rain bands hit the South Texas coast, bringing heavy rainfall to Cameron County. Several colonias north of Los Fresnos, including Lorales and the Santa Rosa area, were heavily flooded. Streets and properties were submerged. Cars were stuck in water up to 2 feet in some places. Cameron County's emergency management and fire marshal services mobilized pump trucks to flooded locations to try to remove water from streets, roadways, properties. So pump trucks can help out in flooding, which we in Southwest Missouri know about because we experience it. On the right there is a picture of me in Illinois. There was a bad rainstorm that came through and people were not ready for it. And I was literally for days out there pumping out this job site because they were afraid for the electrical workers to be standing in water for good reason. The next one, municipal emergencies, construction accidents. If a water main breaks, the water needs to be removed before repairs can be made. So this brings me back to the day when I was in municipal construction. And one day we had a backhoe operator hit this pipe that was made out of a material called transite, which is really brittle. And when he just barely tapped that water main transite pipe, oh my gosh, boom! Water came flooding into the streets. But that's not all. We were working on a sewer line at the time, and so water from the water main and sewer contents were mixing. That was really bad. If ever you have an emergency where you need to have something fixed, a repair made underground, and we've got flooding, you've made flooding from a water main breaking, you need to have that sucked out, and a pump truck can be really handy. Another one you may not have thought of with a pump truck is municipal emergencies with regards to firefighting. Pump trucks can draft water from natural sources like ponds, rivers, or streams that we have a lot of, right? Not relying on hydrants that may not be available in rural or wildland areas. This can be support water shuttling for firefighters or direct suppression. So in this picture here, I could park my truck way out to the side and just suck that truck full, the tank on the truck full of water, and take it right over to, firefighters. I could dump it out onto the streets as water breaks, all kinds of stuff. Septic pump trucks use vacuum pressure systems nearly identical to early fire tankers, allowing them to draft, transport, and discharge water under pressure, essential for suppression. While modern fire departments prefer dedicated apparatus, historical records show septic trucks filling the gap in underfunded rural areas from the 1970s onward. So there's a historical precedent for this being a good thing to have, especially in rural areas. Okay, this is a photo I took, I guess it's last week or the week before, over at the Pineville wastewater treatment plant. And I want to make clear, this is not me speaking ill of them. Super cool guys, Chris and Tom and Charlie and these guys, super good guys, and they're doing the best they can with what they've got. That is their truck on the left. And you'll notice the hood is open. If you go look in there, you're going to see wasps' nests. And they've got problems with that truck. It's not running right now. That truck is aging and out of service. It is not ready for emergencies. That truck probably was, in its heyday when I was a little kid watching E.T. in the theaters. That truck, I don't know, late 70s, 80s, I assume is how old that truck is. Whereas my truck on the right, ooh, it's beautiful. It's a 2010. It's not brand new, but it's been refurbished and it's been vetted and fixed up so that it looks really nice. And it's had its mechanical issues resolved as good as they can be. Now, a truck on the left there, brand new, could cost around $300,000. Ouch, right? My truck on the right, because I bought refurbished, and I did add some extra things on it. I've got like a special meter that tells me how much is in the tank, and I've got it dialed in with all the good stuff that's good to have. Mine was around $120,000 to purchase, so substantially less than $300,000. But I wonder if this picture is indicative, if it's representative of Southwest Missouri in general, and the equipment that we have. If there's an issue, it's hard to take care of. And I will tell you the reason I was there and the reason I have been going back there. They have needed to have sludge transported out of the area. They've got too much sludge and they don't have a truck that can transport it. So I've arranged with them where I can do some dumping at their place, and in return I'm taking trips of sludge and transporting it out of the area. I would not trust the truck on the left to make a trip out of the area. Yeah. So this is what I'm proposing. A win-win partnership. So that's me on the right. It's not really me, but that's how I feel. You see that guy carrying that big old block there, and it says 16% on it. If you are a person who is buying equipment for the first time, it is like predatory lending to try to get yourself into a truck. I got into this business to help my community and to feed my family, and the best that I was able to get through equipment lenders was a 16% loan. Ouch. Ouch. Over 15 years. Okay. That is a painful load to bear. And so while I was looking at loans, I came across all these grants that are available to local governments. Grants that are 0% interest up to like maybe 3% interest that are available for governments that are trying to help their infrastructure, help rural areas, help the water situation. I'm telling you, like, all these grants are like everything that I'm doing, but the problem is I don't qualify for them because I'm not a government. And so I have a 16% loan, and I have to do a whole bunch of work each month before I make a penny. And if something breaks down on my truck, either it's expensive, and I'm just telling you, it is eating me up to be paying 16%. So the partnership that I'm proposing, step one, use grants available to the governments to pay off my $120,000 truck loan. Number two, local government becomes the lien holder. So it's not that you're just buying it, paying it off. You become the lien holder. Then step three, I make payments to you at low or no interest, depending on what kind of loan you get, so I can serve more residents. If you watch my other video, I hope to be able to help the poor people, the low-income people in our area, and it's going to be a lot more easy to do that if I don't have a whole bunch of unnecessary overhead and expenses. And the safety net that you have is, if I default, you reclaim the truck, no risk. You could either keep the truck on your fleet, or you could sell it and, get out of the contract or get out of the truck. I would be put under contract to provide emergency services for the participating government any time of day. I'd be this picture on the right here. Lane Grice, like this guy. City's main lift station went down last night at 10 p.m. and I've been pumping it out nonstop since then, pulling 6,000 gallons every 30 minutes. So when it comes to emergencies, I'm your guy. Okay, that's really what I'm offering here. So why does this work? Zero overhead. You don't have to pay my salary. You don't have to pay my benefits. You don't have to pay the expensive fees that are associated with maintaining these vehicles. These trucks are expensive. Just to replace tires on these trucks could be $10,000. I'm just telling you, it is everything that you are used to with your car. It's so much more expensive with one of these trucks. You would get immediate access to a newer truck for emergencies without having to buy one. The community impact would be affordable services for the poor and cleaner waterways. Low risk for you. Grants cover the costs, and the lien ensures your security. And I wanted to show just a page. I'm sure there are a bunch of other grants out there, but this takes 5 seconds of getting on the internet or AI or whatever and just saying, give me a list of programs that would pay off local equipment for community services. And there's a whole bunch of them. This USDA rural development one at the top here offers loans $200,000 plus, low interest. So there's a bunch that we could ask for funding from that would really be a help to our community. Make me a part of the team, man. Make me a part of the team. Truck could be even labeled with an affiliation with McDonald County. Maybe it's not McDonald County that wants to do this. Maybe it's just a local, maybe Pineville, maybe one of the local cities is just like, hey, we're on board with what you're trying to do. We want to be a part of this. Or maybe there's a bunch that get this message and are like, well, I'd be down for this. That'd be great to have this help, right? Maybe we, as a collection of cities or counties, request this funding. However, I defer to your expertise in this area and the grant writers about the best way to do this. But those that participate in it could have basically a logo on my truck showing, hey, this guy is a part of our emergency response team and is ready to help out. So next steps, get the buy-in of participating entities. I am happy to appear before any committee and answer questions. Grill me. I mean, I can give this presentation and make it 100 times longer if you want, with more, or whatever you want. I'm happy to come and talk to a group or be a part of a committee that figures out how to make this happen. The next step after that is review grant options, the USDA, EPA, state programs. Invite grant writers to collaborate with me to request grants for fast funding. And I say with me just because I think I know a lot of the lingo and such, and I might be able to be helpful. Schedule a meeting to finalize lien terms. So if you're down with it, then we can, and also like how much work is expected, to help out. You call me in the middle of the night, that kind of thing. And I do want to make clear too that I would still need to charge for the services. Staying up all night and running my diesel and driving there, and there's a lot of costs involved, and I would still need to charge for a lot of these services. But my contact is there, Stephen Nix, 417-674-4400. That's the White Knight office number and my email. So I hope you see the vision of this, and I hope that you will call me or contact me and see what we can do. All right, thank you so much. Bye.